I can get this thing started again. All right, hey Jacob, can you guys bring it together again? Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go through it right here. Yes. Yeah.
Let me see.
This is the current area. Looks the exact same.
It looked like it could be a senior or a
It is the same
college.
thing.
I was thinking too.
In this case, well, if you're below ABC, we're gonna talk about that right now about why you would lose that. So if you're below ABC, then you're losing a whole lot of money,
Like 6 months older than
right?
Actually, way larger to meet Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Where are you producing?
Like this reporter wanted to take.
No. Where's your price level? Is this big fat line your price level? Okay, is this your price? So price level is marginal revenue, right? Okay, so where do you typically produce the profit maximizing? No, that's where you break even. If you're a profit maximizing firm, it's always where MR equals MC. Marginal revenue has to equal marginal cost, right? And price is always the same as marginal revenue.
Have you ever read Malcolm?
So right, so this point right here, it's where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, and then you go on to the curve. Okay. All right, hey guys, let me grab your attention here. I'm going to go through a few different things. If you need to put the boards aside so you don't doodle too much, I'm gonna go through and make sure we cover a few different things that I know that we struggle with sometimes, right? And just if I go back and look at history, can you just Mahan, why don't you just close that unless you're gonna take notes on it, right? Just based off of history, I'm gonna go through some different things that people struggle with, and then I'm gonna ask you a question that is a deep kind of a question for today, and then we're gonna ask you again on I'm gonna ask you again on Thursday. All right, so. The key thing when you're doing this is understanding that relationship with figuring out what are you trying to find, right? So when this that I just put up here, I just have this, it's profitable, then price equals ATC is zero profit, and price lower than here is negative profit, right? We had a revelation, okay, in the back. The whole fact that when you have a loss and you have your profit, they're both boxes. They look exactly the same. The only difference is where the price is, right? And that's exactly what this is right here. If the price is above ATC, I'm making money. If you're equal, you're breaking even, and if it's below it, you're losing money. And so it can work out mathematically, but if you do it visually on your graphs, wherever that price line is. You just have to be able to understand where do I draw my quantity now. That's the biggest thing that when I ask you to draw the profit, the step is this. You first have to understand where do I produce, right? And if you're going to look at where I produce, I'm going to try to write big here so that can be show up on the video screen. You got to figure out where I'm producing, and you always produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, right? So tell me why. Why do you produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost? I should make that statement. If you are a profit maximizing firm. Agent, yes.
Well, if you produce at a quantity less than when marginal revenue equals marginal cost, then you'll lose out on opportunities to gain more profit.
Okay.
But if you produce at a higher quantity, then your cost will be higher than your benefit.
Good.
Revenue, and you'll end up losing money.
So what you just said is if you produce where marginal revenue is less than marginal cost, then that is an over allocation, and if it's the opposite, it is an under allocation. So guys, when you look at it visually, and you guys just did this, and you had this, and it was here, and it was here, when you draw a line in. The first thing you got to figure out is where do I produce? And it's always going to be where the marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Now, the next thing is, if we see this, you may know this, But you also have to then remember this. This is when I was gone on Friday and I had you guys in a small group work. And I had you guys come up with and figure out, answer the question, why is this? I've never written so big in my life. Okay? You had to figure out on Friday, and I went back and looked at the 5 different groups that I was able to see the information for, of understanding why this is. If you understand why this is the case, and I'm going to explain it just in a second to make sure you're okay with that, then you know that anytime that this is my price line, well, price is always marginal revenue, right? So if this is price, and it's also demand, and it's also marginal revenue, if this is marginal cost, I know I always produce where marginal revenue goes marginal cost. Folks, no matter where you put your price line in here, that's going to be your quantity, wherever they meet. It doesn't matter how high it is or how low it is. MR and MC is the very first step. Second step is remembering price and demand and quantity. And then your third step is seeing, where is price and ATC? Is price above it? Is it below it? So whenever you look at these different situations, that's what it's going to be. On my exam and on the AP exam, you're going to ask a question that starts off similar to this. It'll say, Joe's Sweet Shop is earning a 0 economic profit. And then it'll tell you a couple other things. So you got to figure out, okay, if that's 0 economic profit, how do I draw that? Right? And it just what you just did, I had you say, well, where's the break-even point? You got to have your short-run production curves, and you have to draw that price. You have to draw the price at the point where price equals ATC. And so it has to be that relation of, okay, where's my quantity, price and margin revenue the same thing, and price and ATC, where's the relationship that they have? Yes, sir.
What's AR?
AR is the average revenue. Average revenue. And average revenue, guys, price is always going to be average revenue. And because think of it this way, if your price is always $10, this is hard, because when I wasn't here on Friday, I kind of assumed that you got some of this kind of stuff, and sometimes you miss the intricate pieces. If my price is always $10, if I produce 4 things, well, this is the total revenue of $40. $40 divided by 4 is $10. So that's why if your price is perfectly elastic here, this is always going to be the case. But this is the case. This is the case, guys, only in perfect competition. And when we talk about monopoly, the next unit, and oligopoly, when it's non-perfect or imperfect, this is not going to be the same equation that we'll use. We can't make this assumption. We only make this assumption because, as based on yesterday, you're a price taker. And when you're a price taker, that means your price is perfectly elastic. That's why all your price lines were perfectly elastic. Right now, here's the challenge that I'll have for you on this. Let me redraw this. Wish I had a giant poster sheet to put there. And I'm trying to be careful as well when I'm drawing this, so it's fairly accurate for you. Here's what I'd like to know. And I'm going to give you like a minute to kind of chew on this. You can ask your neighbor, buy a vowel, whatever's helpful for you. Why is it that the only time that we know a perfectly competitive firm is going to break even is when the price is actually at the minimum of the ATC. Let me restate that, because it took me a long time to get there. Why is the only time a perfectly competitive firm breaks even is when the price is at the minimum of the ATC. Because I just didn't say when it's equal to ATC, when it's at its minimum point. And you can use this visual. Use that visual. And in about 30 seconds, I'll draw something else up there to see if you can get that. Okay? Are you thinking about that question I just asked? Okay? Okay, hang on. Okay, hang on. If you have the answer, just hold on, okay? Okay, so make sure you're thinking about it.
But why couldn't you break even? Why can't you break even? Why can't price equal ATC?
That's kind of a secondary thing to look at. That's good. Go with that. Holy moly. I will tell you that if you get there this very first time, if you get there, I'm impressed. Because that's a really difficult question to answer that of why is it at the minimum? Because if you can actually say, well, it's because of this, this, and this. I'm like, oh, all right. Just go test tomorrow then. So I'm anticipating that you're going to struggle with this one. So I'm just going to move around a little bit, and I'll ask. I'm going to throw this up here. I'll ask you, can I use your marker?
Sure.
That's right. I put the cover on. I prefer that. Yep. All right. That's a better marker. Okay. Here's the price I'm asking you about. At P1, price equals ATC here, and price equals ATC there. Hopefully that will make it that's like a hint to hopefully get to the point of why is it only when it's the minimum of the ATC when it breaks even? That hint help? Throw it against a wall, and that typically happens when it's where efficiency because it's efficient. I think that plays into it. And it plays into it. So why? How about this? Why can't it break even as top? Okay, so they're making profits at the top price. Why are they making profit at the top price? Okay, good. Why do we know that? Chloe, I just want you to go with it. Go. Come on. Oh, now you're on the spot, right? So first off, Chloe, I asked this top price, and she said, well, with the top price, you're making a profit. Right? So I want to know, why are you making a profit? And you said because price more than ATC. Well, isn't price equal to ATC over here? So Shrockman, tell me about this. Why we're making a profit here? We know that, right? Yeah. But price equals ATC over here, and it also equals it over there. Why am I not breaking even at that price point? Because I don't produce here. Why don't I produce here? Because that would be. Did you hear the word he used? That's right. Sometimes on economic tests, I love when random economic terms are kind of thrown out there against a wall to see what sticks, like in an essay question. No, but that made sense what you said. No, it made perfect sense. I just you used the word efficiency, and it just was funny. You had to be there.
Yeah, you had to be there.
This is a total inefficient allocation of resources, correct?
Yeah.
Right? And where do we produce? Parker, where do we produce again? Where does every profit maximizing firm produce?
Where marginal cost equals marginal revenue.
Did you hear that? Say that louder.
Where marginal cost equals marginal